Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Riyadh. Welcome to Sirha Arabia 2024. So if you are hearing me, probably you are a little bit far away. There's still room here. Please join us on the main stage as we're going to start this first day here. Lots of promising discussions coming up ahead. So just very briefly, my name is Asha. I'm going to be your guide, your moderator for the next 3 days, and we will delve into the latest trends, innovations, and opportunities within the food and hospitality industries. Like I said earlier, we have an impressive lineup of speakers who are with us and who are going to share their insights and expertise with us. So I really count on all of you to join us here on stage, and we keep the energy level high as we welcome our guests. So we are going to start with 3 distinguished speakers sharing their insights into the evolving culinary landscape and its intersection with Saudi Arabia's rich heritage. I count on you with high energy. Joining me on stage, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of the Culinary Art Commission, Mayada Bader, the brand executive chef of Bell Group, Hayem Abdel Hadi, and the co-founder of École B, Alexander Cruz. Come on, we can do better. Woo! Hello everyone, thank you for joining us, and hello to all 3 of you. It's great to be here and to start this first discussion. No pressure, it's the first, but I think you guys are going to open it very well. Mayada, before we jump into the discussion, because we're going to speak about the heritage, of the taste of slow food here. Before that, I know you have this huge responsibility being part of the organizers here. You must be proud to be here today.
Does this work? Oh yes, it works. First of all, it's amazing to see all of you at the first Sirha Arabia. Many more to come, inshallah. It's been 2 years in the making, and I think it's something that everyone a part of this is extremely proud. I've been looking at the booth. I've been looking at everyone here. It's such a great accomplishment on its own already.
Fantastic. And of course, we have some other guests with us. So, Hayam, you are, Hayam, sorry if I'm not mispronouncing, correct me. So, you are a trained chef in the south of France and a leading figure in gastronomy. It's great to have you. And Alexander, of course, you will give us a flavor of the international trends that are influencing and blending the local practices, hopefully. So it's great to have all 3 of you here. Maybe we'll start with this discussion because we're going to dive into the taste of slow food. Maybe I'll start with you, Mayada. As a leader here in Saudi Arabia's culinary scene, how do you envision the future of slow food in the kingdom?
So just to go back a bit, the Culinary Arts Commission was established 4 years ago after the Ministry of Culture was established 5.5 years ago. So that already gave a big boost for the F&B industry, announcing that there is a part of the 11 commissions, a Culinary Arts Commission. I think there's no other country with a Culinary Arts Commission. That's very important to keep in mind. We also started with a partnership with Slow Foods from Italy. So literally partnering up with them to come to Saudi, to visit the farms, to make sure that we're educating farmers as well as chefs on the importance of slow farming, but also slow food preparation and how that affects the whole community and country when it comes to sustainability, but also the health of a population.
So do you have like some Saudi dishes that you think, you believe are like the best representation of this slow food movement?
So we have a lot of very beautiful, authentic Saudi dishes. We spent 2.5 years codifying the Saudi cuisine, and we came to codify over 1,200 dishes for the kingdom.
Wow.
I think any Saudi normally will kind of think of 20 dishes he knows. There's a lot more you need to learn soon, and we'll give you all the tools to do so. But most of our cooking is very healthy, hearty. It's always a slow cooking process that takes long, whether it's madfoun or certain dishes like hanid, where you kind of bury the meat, cook it for long. One of my favorite dishes, which is also a national dish, is jarish. It's a slow-cooked oat dish with traditionally lamb broth or chicken broth, and the chicken and lamb is cooked with it, so there's no wastage. You cook it for so long, and then at the end you just remove the bones. So everything was absorbed, all the flavors were absorbed, and it's a one-pot kind of dish, so it's no mess after.
Brilliant. I think this is a very good transition to my next question to Hayam. I was speaking about you have this experience with farm to table practices and sustainable food methods, just like was mentioned just before. How do you see these concepts being adapted, to the Saudi culinary scene?
I think there's so many exciting opportunities in Saudi and so much produce that people are unaware of. So we have excellent mangoes from Jizan, we have excellent almonds from Ha'el, and then we have so much more wild things that are growing. And I enjoyed my conversation with Alexander a lot because coming from Jordan, we share the same nature of being a desert country, and we have a lot of wild plants, and I feel like in Saudi, we still have a long route to discover and forage more for things that the land has been giving us naturally, plus what the farmers are doing, and plus how harvesting is growing. It's just an exciting place to be at, because for us as people who are moving to this country now, there's a lot for us to discover and learn from, and also realize how huge the kingdom is. And it's close to the tropical in a way, right? Where you have a lot of greenery in Jizan, for example, and then you have different nature and different things that you can get, whether it's the sea, the mountains, and the desert. So it's exciting to see how it's going to change slowly.
Brilliant. So I have many other questions for you. I'll get back to that, but I will turn to Alexander. So Alexander, you're the co-founder of École B. Maybe a few words just to tell us who you are.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. École B, we are a food marketing agency specialized in food product design and development of added value food products.
Brilliant. And so I get to my question. I love it when it's concise, it's straight to the point. So Alexandre, maybe with your expertise in agri-food innovation, so what can you say about, how do you see those biofood innovations actually complementing the slow food movement, particularly here in the kingdom?
Oh, well, first, as an opinion of a food strategist, this is here a sandbox. Saudi Arabia has nothing to envy to the rest of the world. Huh? This is so much to discover, but so much has been discovered already as well. And I think with lots of initiatives that are being put in, not only from the Culinary Commission, slow food in Saudi Arabia, I think, has lots of roots and potential. And I think it's really, really important to understand that a slow food product, in the idea of it, is an added value food product that shares culture. And I think that food should be a peaceful way of sharing your culture, and I think that embodies well here.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alexandre. I have a question for you, Hayam, but I would like to remind the audience that at the end of the discussions, I will keep a few minutes. If you have questions for our speakers, feel free at the end. We have, I think, hand mics for you, so just raise your hands and you could ask your questions. Thank you for that. Hayam, so in my intro, I mentioned that you have this international background in France and the US. Maybe tell us, how do you incorporate like slow food principles into your cooking?
So in general, it's very, like, slow food is very simple. It's seasonal, it's local. And with moving a lot, I always study the market, what's close to me, what's the weather like. I lived in Canada, for example. It never made sense for me to have avocados that were imported in the middle of winter. I just felt that fruit does not have anything that my body needs at that moment. With that being said, there are also great ways of preserving food, but it has to also be coming from your home, from your country, close to your roots, close to the soil that you eat from. So yeah, now I've been in Saudi for 1 year, and I'm really studying everything about every single product that we can learn about, that we can see. And I think also there's been a lot of work that's being done around that. So I think last year there was an exhibition And the Culinary Commission had a beautiful, layout of south, north, east, west, and then you could see the different breads and coffees and honey and dates and all of that, and how you can go around it and pick it, and how you can take it back home and cook with it, what you can create with it. So yeah, it's Saudi's turn for me to understand the locality of the ingredients and how we can be super creative with it and use it in different new ways.
Well, I can see you nodding, and this must resonate to it.
I'm gonna nod all the time. We're
Mayad,
convinced.
turning to you, how do you find the balance? You mentioned you gave a little bit of insight, but how do you find the balance between culinary innovation and the preservation of traditional practices in your projects in general?
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank my colleagues, my panelists here for being an amazing ambassador for the Saudi culinary arts. I mean, they're speaking a lot about what the initiative we did what, and you're talking about the Saudi Feast Food Festival, which a lot of my team here have worked tirelessly and overnight for, and that was the main goal, to spread culture and knowledge of our ingredients. And when you talked about, we have so much wild plants and foraging. We have actually a project with a researcher. It's been over a year. It's going to finish in another year, because we realized that different parts of the world, different parts of the country, not the world, but the country, depending on whether it rains or not at a certain time, there's certain things that grow. So we couldn't finish everything in a year, because this part of the desert, there was no rain. And the normal rain wheat that grows there did not grow that year. So we had to wait for another year. And to find all these amazing ingredients that are wild in Saudi. And I've met 2 years ago in Sirha, Lyon, in a panel discussion where we got to know each other. And it was amazing how you then decided to fly, from Canada, which is your home, to Saudi in a leap of faith to say, I want to learn more, I want to discover the country. And it was something I was very proud to see, and it really resonated with us, that kind of leap of faith. And obviously you're moving here for a year, and to me those experiences are great. And I completely forgot your question. But I just had to say
No,
that.
that's brilliant. This is the place to say this kind of thing. Maybe Alexander, this is one of the reasons why you came back.
Yeah, first of all, I love Saudi Arabia, for example. And yes, I think it's a creative sandbox, When you like to create, you're trying to go where you can learn. And in a very Eurocentric world in food, it is really important for creativity to go outside and to try to figure out and to understand. And I come back from a base of food history and sociology and anthropology. So it's not just about finding a new or next element. You're trying to make stuff that can connect people with their food into an interesting way. Eating should be fun, should be happy, should be sustainable, and all that combined together, all of a sudden you make a product that you launch, and people just have it, everything is good, and they don't ask too much questions. That's the goal, and because we need to sustain.
Right.
And yeah, the body and the soul.
And Mayada, getting back to the question, which was really, this balance between innovation and traditional practices. How do you manage to keep?
So first, we really wanted to preserve and understand what our traditional practices are. I think Saudi is a oral heritage, so we share our knowledge through storytelling. We know the map of the stars through the stories that they tell. And this was very interesting, because we were dating recipes back through stories, through novels, through different word of mouth. We started interviewing the older generations. We were trying to identify how long has this dish been here, 400 years, 500 years, and then what changed? We used to use a lot of lamb, and then it became chicken, or even certain dishes became more vegetarian for certain landscapes, because they didn't have access to certain things. But then they also innovated. The tools to make kleja used to be it used to be the palm weaves, and then it became a wooden kind of stamp, and now you have like a silicone stamp or a plastic stamp, and different shapes and different designs, and that's how it's kind of changing. And if you look at the landscape of Saudi, you understand that we are traders at heart. So with the spice routes and the traders, we always like getting ingredients from east to west and vice versa. And because of that, we've dated recipes back to India, back to Africa, back to Asia, and it's been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, that actually when you identify something as being Saudi, it had to have taken from the land. So this recipe in Asia is a completely different recipe because it
Right.
has different ingredients, and they had to adapt, and that's what a culture does. It adapts to what you have in a land, and
That's the beauty of the thing.
it's a beauty of it, yeah. And when you come to innovation, that we look at how do we preserve, whether it's farming techniques, how do we make it easier to cook things? For example, Italian food, you take pasta. Normally, every household in Italy used to do fresh pasta at home. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
Now you buy it from the supermarket. Saudis, we used to do Saudi coffee fresh at home. We used to roast it at home and grind it at home, and that's what I grew up with. To us, it's very new that you have ready-made Saudi coffee that you can just add, boiling water to and some spices. So things do innovate, but it also helps preserve the heritage.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Mayada. I'm sure that this must resonate, Hayam, what you've just heard right now. Maybe tell us now about the challenges that you anticipate in introducing like farm to table practices in Saudi. What are the challenges, and how can we address them?
I think the main, I think there are, for example, on the Culinary Commission, a few guides on what's seasonal, what you can have. It's really cool that they are working now on a guide about foraging. So I think the main challenge is finding the information. It's something that you have to really search for. You have to dig it up and kind of find it. And like my grandfather also used to work in farming here ages and ages ago. So I have some uncles that I can get some information from here and there. But I think information in general. I'm also starting a garden at home,
Nice.
inspired by this amazing chef and gardener, I think, in Kuwait. And she's teaching people how to have a very fresh, organic vegetable garden, but that's suitable for the Gulf weather. How to have these plants that are suitable for the Gulf weather. So it took me a very long time to find that person who lives in similar circumstances, versus when I lived in California and Canada. It's so much easy to find online. The seasonality, when can you
Right.
put the seedling in, when you can put the little, so I think just finding information at this
Right.
moment.
So we'll eventually get there, right?
Yeah, they're working on it.
And maybe Alexander, how do you differentiate yourself? I mean, in this very highly competitive and fast-paced food industry. So, how can this slow food movement help the brands to do that?
Well, I think that the future of brands is based on storytelling, especially added value food brands, to try to create a connection between the customer and the product, sharing a story and where it comes from. And at the same time, we need to some sort integrate the new types of products within, for example, circular economy. When you take back at heritage products, circular economy was fundamental because they used everything. And with time, we some sort of identified some products and all the rest was put on the side. Going back to the heritage products, understanding the circular economy, the intelligence, the human intelligence behind those creations, and trying to reproduce it today, yeah, of course, in a different context, but there's so much to be done and to understand. And for me, at the end of the day, necessity is the mother of innovation. So when you start to go back and you bring it up front, what do we need now? I think it all some sort comes together. Did I answer your question? Yes? Yeah.
Yes, and I want to just probably seize the opportunity to ask you this, maybe because Hayam mentioned it, or I think it was Mayada, about your experience from Quebec. What can be applied here in Saudi? Anything or not, or maybe not.
Well, I have no lessons to teach. Just sharing. I think that we have something in common with we do have a lot of things. We're human beings, so we have a lot in common. But that is in Quebec, we have a vast territory, Just in Quebec or Saudi Arabia, you can put in France, Spain, Italy, Great Britain. So we have a vast territory. And back in the days, lots of communities were dispersed, meaning that we do not have necessarily authentic recipes. We have an authentic idea of a recipe, but that has been some sort of, with the oral tradition being very, very strong, made a diversity. So authentic here is pluralized. You understand? You don't have one. You have 50. You have 200 that make one, and all the bases. And I think that social geographic has a lot to say on how you approach food and how you develop food and how you understand it. So territory is important because it's a human with its territory, building communities, and the nuclear, the family, is so important and very, very hermetic. So meaning that you have a recipe that within your family remembers you. So it's very strong. It's not like a cultural thing that everybody does the same. It is normal to have a preference for a spice within a recipe, within another one. That's family preferences. So family is really important in the gastronomy, more than just social and public.
Right.
It's very rooted.
And maybe, Mayada, from your perspective, from the Culinary Arts Commission, there is, I know, like an ambition in supporting really the initiatives to safeguard the local recipes, and this is something also important for the Commission.
It's very important. It's actually a file that we raised with UNESCO. It's called the Food Atlas, and it's a whole mission from the country of Saudi that raised to UNESCO that was approved, and now we're actually going around the world to introduce this file to everyone because it gives every country a way to document and preserve their traditional recipes. So we're giving all the tools all the know-how that we've done for the past 2.5 years to preserve all these dishes, document them, keep them for generations and generations to come. And we're trying to educate all the other countries who hasn't done so yet to do so, because I don't think it's just a Saudi form of history, but it's our global shared history. I mean, food at the end has no borders. You go up to the north, we have similar dishes to Jordan. You go to the south, same thing. It's amazing how one country will have a slightly different palate than others due to a lot of things. And it's very interesting to see, everyone's version of the same dish, and that's what you're talking about. Every household has a different recipe in Saudi for jarish or Saudi coffee, and everyone thinks they have the better one, right?
This is like my mother, huh? She always have the best recipes. Right. Hey, maybe as a chef, what role really can chefs play to create this deeper connection with consumers and also, locally sourced ingredients? Here we are really talking about sustainability, and I don't know if you have some insights you could share with us.
I think they really have to prioritize it. Like, I think every job has many ways of doing it, right? But like, if a chef is true to sustainability and true to that, even though it might be challenging or not every cauliflower might look the same, or like innovate, accept imperfection in produce when it comes, and just have that message that I have local products, they're seasonal, I can innovate with every season new products, and I'm gonna stick to that because it's cheaper not to do so. It's cheaper to have a menu same year, all year long, with the same price. It's boxed, there's a lot of unhealthy things in it for you, but it always comes in the same size, same shape, same price, and then it's better maybe for business. But food is not just about business. Hospitality is not just about business. Being from this part of the world, hospitality is a huge responsibility for us. Food is your identity as well. Like as a chef, as a restaurateur, it's an opportunity to show your culture, your identity, your values. And those are very important, I think, in any business and in any job, not just in your job as a chef. So we just need more of those.
Maybe, Alexander, I would like a quick reaction on that. It's that.
I agree with everything.
You agree, right?
It's tough. She says it. It's okay. I agree.
All right. Okay. I would like probably on this question, as I know what you're doing at École Bay, and as a strategist, what do you think is key to ensure really the food heritage remains relevant today you know, when we see our modern world, the modern marketing landscape. So maybe a few words.
Innovation is key, especially for heritage products. Um, Innovation allows us to sometimes, you know, like let's say key challenges around the world, climate change, lots of warmth episodes, water scarcity. Uh, Innovation can help us to grow produce and products and transform products using less energy, less carbon footprint. Um, Food sovereignty. Lots of countries have trouble with food sovereignty. They import major products from outside. We need to make sure that every country is able to have a minimal food sovereignty that allows us. So I think that's where innovation in heritage products, it's not just only a story. An heritage product is, and all the heritage of a country, of culinary scene, is a source of ideas for future, for our future. So I do not see heritage products as something just traditional. I see that as an opportunity to bring new ideas to the table and discover. And at the end of the day, I think that the human is curious. We are naturally curious. Bring something new to customers, something interesting, they'll catch it, they'll be interested in it because that's who we are. And at the same time, I think that the level of pleasure that having the chance of trying and eating out heritage product is fun. And fun is important also in life.
Totally agree. All right, so we have a couple of minutes left. I don't know if in our audience we have, yes, we do have a question here. If we can please pass a microphone. The gentleman here, thank you so much. Yes, there you go.
Hello, Garo Matosian from Group Bell. Very interesting discussions. So it's interesting to see how we're preserving the heritage. I have a question maybe for Mayada or Alexandre. What's the position of the Culinary Art Commission on the future of food? Like alternative proteins and stuff, you know. Saudi being the innovation driver of the region and globally, what's the position on this point?
So the way we look at it is first we're identifying our heritage ingredients. So what do we have? I think we documented over 3,000 ingredients that are specific to Saudi Arabia. You have a semh that's in al-jof. You have so many ingredients that have high calcium, high protein. I mean, the Hasawi rice in al-ahsa is the most expensive rice in the world, but also has the highest content of protein in the world because of the landscape. And then we look at innovation when it comes to food waste. You know, what can we innovate? Can we use every part of the palm tree? I mean, there's certain areas where they eat the heart of the palm tree. They eat the heart of the baby male palm tree because they don't need so many of them, and they take up too much water. It's actually amazing. I've tried it. I want to bottle it up and package it so everyone else in the world can do it. So I think the way we're looking at it is how can we preserve, whether it's pickling, whether it's certain historical techniques we use, whether in Saudi or we learn from other countries in the world on new ways to preserve food. We were talking about why not freeze dry balah? Why not create, instant noodles came about because of war and scarcity, and they needed a quick, hot meal. And I've been to the museum, so which explained all this to me. And it was great to see that there was a need. But how can we don't really want to wait for the needs as much as we want to foresee the upcoming needs. I mean, we are a land, we do have water scarcity in certain areas. A lot of the younger farmers are not staying in the farm, so it's not passing from generation to generation. How do we also fix that? And I think organically the food scene kind of adapts and changes. And if you change too fast and the public is not ready for it, they won't accept it. And I think you need to take a bit of time to do that.
Alexander, you want to build on that?
Yeah, I agree. I don't like talking for that. Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. It's on the same line, yes.
Fantastic. 2 minutes, maybe one other question from the audience if we have, or I wrap it up. Okay, all right. Thank you for that great question, by the way. So this will be maybe just to wrap it up. We have less than, let's say, 3 minutes. What would you like to say about these topics? How can Saudi really leverage its culinary heritage to create the value-added products that align with the slow food principle? Any final words? You already gave great insights. Any final words, Hayam, maybe?
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be here, to be part of this growth. I see a lot of initiatives, also like the coffee company, the Culinary Arts Commission. Lots of things are happening in our world that are very important. Our world as like chefs and food lovers that are really good. And yeah, I just hope to see more of that, more education towards kids and about that, so that they can carry on with that heritage.
I love the idea. Alexander, your final words?
Oh, I'd just like to congratulate everything that has been done, notably from the Culinary Art Commission and everyone. Is such giant steps, and I think that in this, what we're doing here and what we're seeing here and assisting here, it's products that other people in other countries gonna have to remake, because we're not just taking, instead of just going, oh, I'm gonna promote the agriculture, promote the products, this and that. This is an holistic approach, including culture. And I think that's the future of way, especially speaking with the younger generations. It's a new narrative. I think that what's being made right now in Saudi Arabia with the perspective embodies what the future customer wants. We're talking in the 5, 10, 15, and 20 years from now. So congratulations to all the commission for the work you have done. It's very inspiring.
Thank you, Alexander. And Mayada, I think you have the final words for this one.
I just want to thank you all for being such great ambassadors, and I don't have to talk anymore. And thank you all for coming, and thank you for being such a great moderator. And I'm just so happy today that Sirha opened its doors in Saudi, that there's nothing more to add. It's been a great accomplishment so far, and everyone who worked on it.
So let's enjoy the 3 days together. Guys, come on, huge round of applause. Well, what speakers today, Hayam, Alexander, and Mayada, thank you very much. And stay tuned here. We're coming back in 2 minutes with our next discussion on the agricultural revolution at Al Ulas. So don't move, we're coming back.